Wow, it's 52 degrees outside. This is a tease of spring, but we're still in winter. This is February 14th. And I'm going to get some work done. I've got a list of things that I listed out at the beginning of the year of things I wanted to accomplish for my homestead. So I'm going to start in the front today and work my way back. And I got some debris to clean up. So stay tuned for this episode. Hello folks, welcome back to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host Jerry Hansen. It feels like spring out here. I mean, after all, it's t-shirt weather. It's 52 degrees, and being an Oregonian, that's t-shirt weather for us out here. Yeah, so, and in January, I had my first video of the year, and I listed a bunch of stuff that I wanted to go through and accomplish this year on the homestead. Now, a lot of it requires money to be able to accomplish. Since I don't have the money right now to spend, I'm going to work on projects that I can accomplish this year also without money. Like I got repairs to do, I got cleanup to do. So today I'm going to start off with a little bit of cleanup. So let's go get some exercise. This is my area for my horseshoe pits. I've got my horseshoes on these benches. In earlier videos a couple of years ago, you can see where these benches were painted red and green. Man, I got to disassemble them and get them sanded down and painted again. They faded, but my daughter, when she lived here, she had collected some firewood and had a little fire pit, but now she has it down at her place. And I'm going to clean up this mess because I want to get ready to bring in some rock and lay a gravel area down here so I'm not fighting weeds and grass, and then build sand pits on the end. So I'm going to go put these on my pile. I got a pile down here I'm setting up to get ready to burn. Suppose I could use a wheelbarrow, but I'm looking mostly at the exercise part of it. And besides, I've got all day, and I do need to exercise desperately. Now, all these branches were from a big tree that Marty Rainey had cut down at the recommendation of the fire marshal. When we were filming the show, Honey, I Torched the Homestead on Discovery Channel's Homestead Rescue, our main focus on the homestead was fire safety. So they brought in the fire marshal, and he looked out the area and determined what needed to be done to have a defensible zone and also a safe egress off the property in the event of an approaching wildfire. So here's something homesteaders need to be aware of. How is your egress? Meaning, how are you guys going to get out of your homestead if you can't defend your homestead against an approaching fire? So make and beware of your drive. Is it passable? Can big fire equipment get in and out of your driveway if they have to? Are there trees lining your driveway that could fall across your driveway and catch fire and block you on your homestead? So be aware of those things. So one of the scenes they set up for us was they cut down a tree, laid it across the driveway here, put some debris on it, set it on fire, and then we filmed that scene during our fire drill. That I didn't expect. Of course, a lot of the stuff I didn't expect. It was, after all, it is reality TV, and they did a good job at setting up these scenarios and putting my fire drill to the test. They did a really good job. Boy, it was sure eye-opening though. But this is what remains of the log. He did cut part of the log. Marty did, and used this chainsaw and carved this carving. Really cool carving. It was a fish. He carved that out of this part of the log. And then they gifted me with a battery-operated chainsaw, because at the time I didn't know that I couldn't use a chainsaw because I have a pacemaker, and the handbook for the pacemaker says do not use chainsaws. And then after talking to my electrophysiocardiologist, this new model of pacemaker, this is my second pacemaker, it enables me to be able to use chainsaws. So that chainsaw that they gifted me, the batteries wore out. I used that sucker like crazy because I was going through and working on my whole farm and getting all of the limbs limbed up and all the underbrush cut out and the small trees cut out to try to get a really good defensible position all the way around my homestead, mainly around all the buildings, and then of course create a safe egress for our homestead. So yeah, the battery wore out, that little Ryobi chainsaw. So I just have to go online and order a couple more new batteries so I can get it operational again and get this tree cut up. I also want to buy a Husqvarna chainsaw, preferably with an 18-inch bar and chain, because I got some pretty tall timber up there that has died that I need to get cut down and cut up. Yeah. This is another thing where the chainsaw is good for, is get trees that fall down on your fence line, because I got to maintain my fence line to keep the predators out away from my livestock. And you guys have seen the predators I have in my neighborhood. I have cougar, I have bear, I have coyote, and just recently folks on their trail cams have been catching sightings of wolves. So we've got wolves in the area also. Mainly try to keep those guys off the homestead. But it didn't look like this tree really did any fence damage, because just the very top of it fell across the fence. I think this is the top. Throw that on my debris pile. And I'll just go get some more wood. But like I said, I could use a wheelbarrow, but I'm in it for the exercise. I need to get rid of some fluff. And it's sunny, it's nice, it's not too hot. I need the exercise, I need the activity. Oh, here's a couple right here. Yeah, this chore is taking a bit of huffing and puffing and grunting and farting. That's what happens when you get old, or if you're just a guy. It feels good to get outside and move around and do a little bit of work. Gosh, it feels good. I'm one of those guys that is not afraid of a little bit of work. Not afraid at all. Yeah, my front area is going to look pretty tidy once I get it all done. Yep. Hear the huffing and puffing? That's a good thing. Exercising the heart muscles. All right. Grandkids were up here last year playing with the horseshoes, and two of my horseshoes got, well, they're not lost, they're up here somewhere, but they got buried in the leaves. I got to bring my metal detector out and try to find them. I have two complete sets of horseshoes. One set I purchased years ago when the family was young. We used to go camping up this lake, and they had horseshoe pits, and so our entertainment was we play horseshoes, and neighboring campers would come and join us and just get to know everybody, have a little bit of activity. So I got this other set of horseshoes from, well, guess where? I bet you guys can guess. You know me by now, to those who have been following my channel. That's right. Got it from an estate cleanup. This big old hump here, it's not just a mound of dirt. This is what I'm standing on now is, it's a sand filter system for septic. Because of the type of soil, we have a lot of clay in the soil. This is required for our area with this type of soil to be able to process the effluent, which is the liquid portion of the waste that comes out of your house. And it pumps the liquid portion of it through a pressurized pipeline, and it comes in through this area and it sprays it up into sand and filters down, and then it comes and drains down out of that, and then drains down to a drain field, which is right here, which is pipe about that big around with holes in it, buried on big rock, and then back buried with little rock and then dirt. And you can't see it in here, but you can see the indentations and where the pipes go. The pipes each are 100 feet long, and there's 4 sets of pipes. So that when the effluent gets down in there, it just kind of gradually percolates down into the soil. So unfortunately, I have the type of septic system which requires the electricity to power it. The well pump itself, or the septic pump itself, runs on 110 volts or 120 volts, but it's okay. My solar power system is big enough to handle the septic, and it's not pumping all the time, so it's not a constant drain on the battery. So this septic system can be used for an off-grid for this type of soil. Other places around the state and the country have the type of soil where you can just run your septic, and the water just, the overflow water just runs right out of that into your drain field and percolates down into the ground. Here's one. Kind of looking for my horseshoe as I'm out here. These branches that can go on that pile. Actually, I may be able to make another pile right here. I think I'll do that. I'll just make another little slash pile right here and just keep cleaning up my yard. Some of my viewers have expressed an idea for me to create a food forest, and if I were ever to create what they call a food forest, after all, I know very little about food forests. So to learn more, I'll go ahead and go on to the University of YouTube and check out what other people are doing successfully. I wonder what happened back there. A horrible noise and the goats jolted. Huh. Oh, I wonder if they got too close to the fence and they got shocked. Well, I guess they're okay. I want to encourage them because there's a lot of spring growth going right now, so I want to reduce my feed bill and encourage them to start foraging more on my pastures I'm letting grow up, so I don't have to spend so much on feed bills during the spring and summer months. Yeah, we'll see how it goes this year. I've had goats before, and I had successfully raised them that way, where they just went out and foraged for their own, filled up their little bellies. And the geese, they're foragers, so they are always going out and foraging. And that one duck I have left, he hangs tight with them. Where they say birds of a feather flock together. He's the odd man out, though. I've got to go on Craigslist and see if I can buy him a duck. That drake is a lonely drake. Anyway, look at this. It's this is proper a defensible fire zone right here. As you can see, there's very little combustible material laying on the ground, and what is there is very short. So it'll burn quickly and blacken, and then in and of itself create a fire break. But it won't reach and get into the trees because we've limbed up all of the trees. We had a fire crew out here that the network hired. They came out and helped us clean out the underbrush and then limb up these trees. And then we burned the slash and made some drama for the TV show. But it was a win-win for us because I was working on this area. I knew I needed to get it done, but that really put us years ahead of what we can do, because as you know, I have limited resources and I have limited ability to do things because I have a really short stamina because of the heart issue, being exposed to Agent Orange. That sucks. I have to live with that for the rest of my life. But it looks good. I think what I'll do here, my next little project, I'll go ahead and take these benches, sand them down, and get them repainted and brought back up here. Yeah, I can even paint these. Oh, whoa. Okay, what do I got? Inventory. I've got this set, 3 from that set. Champs, and champs. These are royal. Oh, that's interesting. So I've lost 1 champ and 1 royal. A white royal and a blue champ. So I've got to go find those. So I'm going to take the rust off these, repaint them, so they'll really stand out against the leaves out here, and I won't lose them again. Besides, we'll have sand pits out here for the horseshoes. And I'll have it all regulation. Right now the stakes are set regulation, so we can still do horseshoes out here, but I want to build a proper backboards, sand pits, and then, like I said, gravel, because I don't want to have to deal with weed whacking up here all the time. And it'd make a nice area just to come and get away. Well, that's it on this episode. God, it's pretty clean. So there wasn't much I had to do out here on the front side. So maybe today I can work on some other repairs. Oh, what is that? There's a big tree over there. Let me go take care of this. We have Oh, I got a blackberry bush wanting to start right here. Yeah, this limb just broke off. This is storm damage. So, oh, real quick, as far as the food forest thought goes, is to maybe plant some fruit and nut trees out here, just here and there. Take care of all this and get some fruits growing out here. And hopefully, I might have to build a big fence around the saplings until they get grown, because I have a big deer population out here. There's a big herd of deer that come through frequently, and they forage. Oftentimes I have them right there in my front yard leaning against the house. I'm not exaggerating. They're literally laying right next to the house. Yeah. This is nice. Chickens are having fun getting the bugs. They're free ranging. If you guys ever start a homestead, you haven't had a homestead yet, there's 2 livestock I recommend you guys trying. You can even do it in town. Is get yourself a couple of hens to get some eggs going, and maybe even more hens so you can have eggs and you can have fresh meat. Also, get you some rabbits. That's a lot of good protein that the rabbits provide. And for some of you who are fearful of, well, there's a Bible scripture in there about what to eat, what not to eat, and that calls it the hare. You're not supposed to eat the hare. Well, I want to point out, in the genetic level, a hare and a rabbit are 2 different creatures. One has 1 extra chromosome than the other one, so therefore they can't crossbreed. A hare, when it has its young on a nest on top of the ground, and its young are already ready to go out and start foraging. Their eyes are open, and they have fur. Where a rabbit hides its nest, usually in a burrow underground, and their kits, when they have them, they're hairless and their eyes are closed, and they need mom's milk to sustain themselves for the first several weeks before they can go out and start eating solid foods. So that's the difference between the hare, which the Bible talks about that is a forbidden food. I'm sorry I'm breaching on this subject, but these are little known facts that people really get into and understand the genetics of the differences between a hare and a rabbit. Now, Bugs Bunny was a confused hare, because the Hollywood took a lot of licenses on Bugs Bunny. He was a hare, jackrabbit, but yet oftentimes it showed him living underground in a burrow or popping up out of a hole in the ground. That's not the traits of a rabbit. That is a hare that does not live in holes in the ground. So now you have it. A little bit of extra stuff I threw in there that I didn't expect to say. But raise chickens, raise rabbits, you'll be okay. Have protein, something simple you can raise in your backyard. Grow some fruit trees. Boy, I talked about a lot of different things on this episode. I better cut it off. I'm Jerry Hansen, your host. This is Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I want to thank you guys for joining me on this episode. Please stay tuned to more videos by clicking that bell icon that alerts you to new videos as I do upload them. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. That really helps out the channel. It helps out the analytics, and also giving me a comment and engaging with me, saying, thanks, nice, great info, whatever. Those comments show an interaction with my audience, and that really helps out the channel also. It helps more than you realize. I mean, a lot more than you realize. And then please share my videos on your social media platforms just by clicking that share button, and you've got a selection once that thing opens up of selecting Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Reddit, Blogger, Tumblr, LinkedIn. You know, just choose one or a couple and share our video on those links. That helps us out. We'll see you guys in the next adventure. I love this weather. I am so eager for spring and summer. Get back to work in the garden. Bye-bye.